All right, to give more insight on this issue is the Executive Secretary, Agriculture Research Council of Nigeria, Professor Hamidu Sharubutu, and he joins me from our Enugu studio. You're welcome to NTA Network News, Prof.
Very much, and good evening, Nigerians.
Start by getting your view on the proposal of the federal government on livestock development.
Well, the issue of the development of livestock, and specifically the issue of grazing reserve, is an age-long problem that we have in this country. And so for the federal government, this is an inherited program. And I can tell you that immediately after independence, the federal government actually, with the help of the international community, and specifically ILCA, stationed in Kenya, under the auspices of the African Union, that time the OAU, decided to come up with a program called the Fulani Amenity Program. And that was a program that was supposed to settle the Fulani gradually and providing them with the necessary amenities. And what are these amenities? These amenities are water in pond, development of fodder, that is the food they are supposed to eat in terms of grasses and legumes, then provision of livestock stores for feed, as well as clinic. Now, this program did not succeed because at inception it took off as a very, very serious program. But just like other programs, it collapsed. Then the first National Livestock Development Program came up. The second Livestock Development Program also came up. But all these have been programs that were truncated because funding has not been there, political will has not been there. Now, during the Jonathan administration and towards the tail end, the federal government, looking at the problem that has bedeviled this country because insecurity was now being introduced into the issue of livestock development, decided to develop grazing reserve. And because the regime did not continue, the Buhari regime came up and decided to continue with the program. Remember that this was the program that was actually developed under the chairmanship of Ben Suswam, who was the chairman during Jonathan's regime. And because the new National Economic Council came up, they decided to read the minutes, the last minutes of the meeting, and so they decided to adopt it. Now, this led to the birth of the National Livestock Transformation Program. But along the line, nomenclature took hold of the whole program, and so people now started reading meaning into the whole thing. Today, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, and I want us to be very, very specific about the nomenclature, the name of that ministry. It's Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. And because it has to do with rural development, and livestock rearing is a rural activity, the Honorable Minister, Alhaji Sabono Nono, decided to take this as a very, very serious issue to see what they can do about livestock. But let me say this, livestock is a national asset. The Fulani or whoever is rearing cattle is only holding that asset in trust for the nation. Because if the livestock are not there, we may have to go outside this country and then import, thereby creating jobs elsewhere. Now, with this initiative of trying to develop this grazing reserve, I think it is something that we should all key into for those who are willing. And let me say this, that we have over 415 demarcated grazing reserves in this country, spread across the northern part and some part of the southwest, particularly in Oyo State. Now, those that were actually gazetted are about 112. So this is where we are, and there's a need for us to really move into and try to see what we can do to develop them.
Professor, just very, very quickly now, because we're running out of time, how can states in the South also benefit from this program? Very quickly. Benefit from this program.
You see, when the National Livestock Transformation Agenda actually came in, it was a concept that was supposed to be for the willing. Those that are actually willing to donate land, those governments that are ready to actually key into so that a counterpart type of arrangement will be made. And I want to give an example of a program that I am involved in. That is the program in Plateau State. Each state government is supposed to look at the blueprint and adopt it with peculiar attention to his culture, to his religion, and to the disposition of his own people. In Plateau State, the governor, what he intends to do is to say, those indigenous people that have livestock will also have a share to develop their own ranches, while the grazing reserves that were already gazetted in Wase Kanam will now be used to settle the Fulani people that are there. So these are the type of arrangements that will be adopted by the various state government.
Secretary, Agriculture Research Council of Nigeria, Professor Hamidu Sharubutu, thank you for your time.